This is You've Already Been Hacked, recorded on
13 December 2025. Welcome back to You've Already Been Hacked. We've been on a little bit of a siesta because it is the holidays and trying to get together with all of our real world counterparts and their needs and foods and dinners and parties and everything else. It's just been really hard to get a schedule going, at least for me. How about you, Cowboy?
Yes, they wanna go out and do things. They wanna leave the house. It's so weird.
Well,
I don't get
touching
it.
grass in the colder months
And,
is the thing.
yeah, wanna see parades and Santa and all the weird stuff. But here we are.
And
Glad
here
to
we
be
are,
back.
and we're gonna try to get a few more episodes in here just before the end of 2025, but it is the holidays, um, and if we don't, please stick with us. We will be back with gusto come 2026. With that said, our top story tonight: OpenAI signals high cybersecurity risk with next-gen models. OpenAI has announced that its newest AI models, capable of generating code and automating tasks and even creating zero-day exploits, are moving into a high-risk zone for cybersecurity. The company has warned that these models could be weaponized by adversaries to produce sophisticated attacks or craft malware with unprecedented precision. In response, OpenAI is scaling up its defensive use of AI and implementing such things as automated code audits, vulnerability remediation, and continuous monitoring. The announcement follows a growing trend of AI being leveraged for both defensive and offensive purposes in the cyber domain. This matters because it shows that the attack surface is escalating and AI is becoming more capable day by day of generating code that could be used for exploits. And it's doing so in a very rapid and automated pace, something that I don't think human socks are going to be able to keep up with at all. Regulatory scrutiny is likely going to come from this. This warning may prompt regulators to tighten oversight or AI development and deployments. And industry response is going to, should, I would hope, swing upward with security vendors and developers reassessing their threat models to incorporate AI driven adversarial activity. So, what could you all be doing in response to this announcement from OpenAI? We'll update your incident response playbooks to include AI generated attack vectors, integrate AI based detections into your security stack if you haven't done so already. I know that the trust level is maybe not as high as it could be with what your AI is going to output, but you got to start using it. You're not going to keep up with this stuff. Vendor risk assessments should be being done to verify that any AI components in your supply chain have robust security vetting and policy and training. Educate your teams on the risk of AI generated code and how to recognize suspicious patterns. Cowboy?
Yeah, I think you're seeing us move from the speed of human, right, to the speed of AI. And so you've gotta don't I'm a big advocate, right? I always say don't replace humans. You still need humans in the loop, but you need AI to be able to do, we'll call it real time analysis, real time defending. Shout out to OpenAI for actually coming out and saying, hey, we've made this thing and it's awesome. But guess what? Bad guys can use it for awesome bad guy things too. And we're working it. So I think it shows a lot of transparency and it shows a lot of accountability, right, for this product. But I'm worried about the little guys. I think you'll see, right, people who have the money and the resources to get after this, but um, if it hits the fan, it's the little guy that's going to pay. And we, people, businesses, organizations don't do a good job at secondary and tertiary effects of what happens if I get hit or what happens if somebody I rely on gets hit.
Right, right. And also, this is very much in line with what Anthropic did recently, right? When they did their full announcement of how attackers had used their models to develop exploits. So this is definitely happening across the entire industry. Um, the interesting thing to me, though, is that these are two. I don't want to. I'm using the word public in the sense that they're out there, not necessarily that they're publicly traded companies, but they are public companies um, that are announcing this. What about all of the open source models that no one has visibility into how those are being used, because anybody could be running them. That's why they're locally run. So there could be a lot more activity happening, and most likely is happening in this case, in the exploitation creation space, than anyone is even willing to recognize. It's going to get scary real quick, real
Well, that's a
quick.
good point, right? Because traditionally you've got, state sponsored and trained hackers, white hat, black hat, gray hat, and then you had script kiddies, right?
Well, now the script
I-
kiddies
I've, I've
have great power, don't they?
Right, exactly. That's a big point there, right? You're going from, oh, there's this 3-year-old malware that's available for anyone to use that, all the defenses have been updated with,
You know.
and you don't have to worry about it too much, right? Now you've got potential for tomorrow's 0 day in the hands of somebody that don't understand the damage they could do.
Oh, absolutely, right? So you take your model du jour that could fit on your, your AMD 9070, your NVIDIA 5090, or, one of those other professional cards, or hell, take your Mac Studio with 512 gigabytes of unified memory, whatever. Take one of your big models that excels in code generation, that is uncensored, and tell it you want it to craft an exploit using this language to do this thing, and you're going to use this MCP server to understand the current code bases. Go. And it happens. And you don't even need to know what the code is writing, because it's just going to execute. Now, whether or not it executes correctly, okay, a little testing may be involved there, but that script kiddie is now a prompt kiddie. They're not even worried about scripting something. They don't have to anymore. It's that it's it the bar to exploit, the bar to cause havoc has gotten exponentially lower. I wouldn't even say significant, exponentially lower, because all I have to do is ask the AI, an uncensored AI, to do it, and it will just do it.
It is on the floor, a millimeter above the floor.
Yeah,
Like
you have to
it
know how
is.
to type in a prompt that will get you a result. That's about it.
Right. Yeah, if you can type, you can do it, right? Unprecedented levels.
Yeah. And it's only going to get worse. This is not a problem that will be mitigated, because if a model is locally hostable and can have its safeguards removed, which does happen with great ease, this problem is only going to be exponentially worse as new models are released to the public. That doesn't mean that new models shouldn't be released. It doesn't mean they need to be regulated. But this is one of those. You're putting you give Prometheus gives humans fire.
Hmm.
They're going to use it for light and heat. They're also going to burn things with it, and that's what's happening now.
Yep.
Okay. In our next story, Google Ads drive macOS infostealer malware via ChatGPT and Grok guides. A new malware campaign dubbed Amos InfoStealer is leveraging Google search ads to lure users into ChatGPT or Grok conversation interfaces that claim to provide helpful instructions. These seemingly innocuous chats ultimately trick users into downloading and installing a macOS specific info stealer, harvesting credentials, session tokens, and other sensitive data. The attackers are exploiting the popularity of AI chat services and the trust users place in Google's ad ecosystem. This matters because ad-based phishing is an evolution, and it is illustrating how malware can be distributed yet again through another legitimate channel, this time being advertising as opposed to Git or NPM, as we talked about in the past. macOS vulnerabilities. This shows that Apple's OS is not pure and unscalable. It is vulnerable, and there is problems out there, and it is, a sophisticated attack can exploit a macOS machine as well as it can a Windows one, as well as it can a Linux one. They're not impervious. And AI and trust exploitation. This demonstrates attackers using good old-fashioned social engineering, just with a little AI thrown on top of it. Cowboy, thoughts?
This gave me a great idea for a cyber capture the flag challenge. I've written a couple trick the chatbot, but what if you had a challenge where the chatbot's trying to trick you?
Oh my, yeah.
And it tricks you to download something and the flags in there. Anyway, I digress. Any CTF developers out there, that would be a cool challenge
Yes.
to have. Let
I
me
was
go myself
almost
back. Oh
socially
yes,
engineered tonight.
social engineering, right? It's the human's the weakest link in the chain. It always is. It always will be, right? And tried and true, it works. It's just adding new layers, new sophistications, new vectors into the person. And I've met people where I'm like, you should not be allowed to touch a computer ever.
Yeah.
And we're never going to get rid of that. Yeah, social engineering. But tell me, how'd you almost get social engineered today?
Same way they tried a few months ago. If anyone remembers hearing about that, where they called me
A
up.
phone call.
They called me up, very professional sounding. Not only did they call me up, and I got an official email from Apple that a case had been opened, because anybody can open up a case at all if they have your email address, which, surprise, mine is in the wild because of who knows how many breaches at this point. So this guy started talking to me, and he's like, yeah, I'm not going to ask you for any data, blah, 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 blah. Like, it was very, very smooth. And then he's like, I need you to go to this website. I'm going to send you a link for a website. And like, my guy, you just told me that someone's using my, attempting to get in my accounts, and you want me to click on a link in an email? That's a little suspect, don't you think? He's like, you're right. Let's not do that. Why don't you type it into your browser instead?
Oh,
And he said very quickly, yeah, right. So he said very quickly, you're going to go to manageiCloud.com. And I went, okay, give me a second. And I started typing. What I typed in, folks, just so everyone knows, and just take a breath, it's okay, professor's not that slow, is I typed in iCloud.com, which is legitimate. That is Apple's service for email, contacts, all the things, like their Office suite, if you will, right? So I typed that in. That was legit. Verified my account with two-factor. Everything was up and above board. So then what I tried to do was I tried to go to manage.icloud.com, because manage would be, a subdomain. So I did that, and it didn't go anywhere. And I said, yeah, your subdomain for manage.icloud.com isn't going anywhere. He's like, oh, no, I didn't say subdomain. What I need you to do is go to manage-icloud.com. And I went, oh, you do you? He's like, yeah, that's where we send people. Don't worry about it, sir. Everything's fine. I'm like, okay. So I start typing in again, but I'm not typing in the domain. What I did is I went to Whois, right?
Yeah.
I went to a Whois provider, and I typed in the domain in the Whois provider. And then I started reading back all the Whois information to this guy, and I'm like, none of this is Apple's DNS service. So why don't you and your friends stop trying to hack my accounts, because it's never going to happen. And I hung up. And that was the end of the conversation for me. And they didn't call back.
Check and mate. No, dash, sir. Don't worry. Everything's fine. I'm with the government. I'm here to help.
Everything's fine. I'm here to help you. Yeah. Right. But yeah, I mean, every so often, and they didn't just go after my Apple account tonight. They went after my Apple account. They went after my Venmo account. They went after my PayPal account. They went after my Amazon account. All at the same time, because my phone started blowing up with SMS passcodes for all of them. And I'm like, my guys, where did my email address get leaked this time? Because this is a little excessive.
Yes,
So,
cyberprofessor at AOL.com.
Yeah, seriously, right?
It infuriates me. It makes me want to, death penalty for these people. No appeals, no nothing.
Yeah.
Like, just firing squad, all of them.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Yes, that's a little digression. All right, our next story. Genetec releases its 2026 State of Physical Security Report, and AI adoption doubles in it. In the 6th annual report from Genetec on physical security, it reveals a dramatic shift. AI adoption among physical security professionals has more than doubled since last year. The survey of over 7,000 professionals has highlighted how AI is now integral to access control, video analytics, and incident response. The report also noted that security teams are increasingly collaborating with IT departments to align physical security and cyber defense. This is great, right? Because it's integrating security posture. It's showing that there's a convergence of physical and cybersecurity, which is essential to protecting your modern enterprises. It's showing AI being used as a diverse defensive tool, not just in cybersecurity, but it's being used in more proactive monitoring and threat detection in the real world space, which is pretty cool. And this shows that there's going to be an increase in demand signal for training that is cross disciplinary in security operations. I'm happy. I like this. This is a good one. Cowboy.
This is fantastic. Using it for things it's not intended for, thinking outside the box. More people are getting trained on AI. Can't be mad at that. And any good pen testing company knows that physical security is part of cybersecurity pen testing.
Oh yeah.
And AI can give you real time analytics of like, hey, this guy or gal's behavior is suspicious and can alert on it. Like, why are they looking around so much? Right? That's not normal behavior for your IT nerd going up to work on your servers. So this is exciting. I'd like to see it start rolling into some home security products.
Well,
So
as long as it's actually secure and not just another attack surface to be exploited.
uh,
But yes, I
Uh,
agree.
sure, sure. I know, I know. A little bit of magic there, pretending everything is great. Like,
Fair, fair.
my cameras are a little dumb sometimes when it comes to what it ID stuff as. So would love to see that capability there. But I'm also more secure than your average Joe. So no, that's a great story. I like seeing it implemented. I think that's a key area it should be implemented
But
in.
and this is the way that AI should be being used, right? And not just the slop that is really upsetting people. This is it augmenting the tool space
Mhm.
in a meaningful way, right? If it's helping with video analytics, to do that at speed, that's a good thing. That's what you want it to be doing. You don't want it to be just making, you know, cats jumping on trampolines or whatever is the current slop du jour right now, right? And I think that's what's upsetting people with AI is that there's a lot of things that are being produced that are just bad taste and it's not really providing any inherent value or anything like that. But in these examples where it becomes a ubiquitous tool and is part of the stack, that's what we need from it. That's where we need to be using it. That's what's going to fundamentally change how we do things. So I'm for it. This is A plus for me. Let's see what we got. Oh, and our next story. This is another good one. We're ending on some good notes here this week. Finally, some good notes.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! A Ukrainian woman has been charged for facilitating Russian-backed cyber attacks. The U.S. Department of Justice has indicted Victoria Dubronova for allegedly assisting Russian-backed hackers in executing a series of cyber attacks against critical U.S. infrastructure. Dubronova faces now up to 32 years in prison and a $10 million bounty for additional perpetrators. The indictment details how she coordinated with threat actors, supplied access credentials, and helped launch attacks that could compromise energy grids, water systems, and federal networks. This matters because it demonstrates how insiders can act as a bridge for foreign adversaries. It shows and highlights the ongoing vulnerability of essential services to state backed actors, and it sets a benchmark for prosecuting collusion with foreign cyber criminals. Cowboy?
Legal precedent is huge. That is a big thing. As someone who could be married to a lawyer, I'm sure my digital
You might want to ask her
commander in
about that
chief,
and just see how she
you
feels about
know,
it. Like that would be a
is
good
all
good
about
feedback.
that. We have good conversations around that. Also, I think on our downtime, maybe we should be looking for those additional perpetrators because I'll split 10 million with you. Just
Oh
saying.
god, yeah, I could use
Yeah.
that right now myself.
Uh, and you got her name better on the second go, so that was good.
Thank you.
No, I like how this has a taste of everything, right? There's a little bit of Cold War, or Cold Wear, depending
Cool. Yeah,
where you
both.
live.
Sure, go with it. Yeah.
Um, a little old school espionage, right? Spy stuff going on there. But really, the take home here is continuing to highlight just how vulnerable our critical infrastructure continues to be. My favorite example is always Die Hard with a Vengeance with the fire
Ah.
sale, and they're taking down water and they're taking down power. And the quickest way for the civilized world to eat itself is to go a couple days without all of your critical infrastructure.
What
Um,
was the saying you've used before? If you don't know where to hunt the
oh,
sandwich.
oh, yeah, yeah. I'll never survive the apocalypse because I don't even know where sandwiches live.
Yeah, yeah.
So I can't go find them. But my other example, right, was my power flickered today. Was out for 1 second, just enough to reset everything, which is always fun. Um, but it caused people to get on the Facebook community page and be just hammering the electrical grid and the electrical company. It was like, guys, 1 second. It was out for 1 second. Okay, like, sorry for your first world problems.
That
This
actually
my
means that the
small
system worked, though, because that means that like something happened in the grid that caused a disruption, but the grid didn't go down. Like they didn't lose
yeah,
power; it flickered.
right. That's what I mean. Like my small mountain town would not survive a week without water and
Well,
power.
maybe they
They
shouldn't be
just
a mountain
wouldn't.
town
They
then.
would. I know you'd think that'd be the people to survive, and there would be,
Right.
but like, oh my gosh, like your big cities, like they would just pure anarchy, right? Like the next big movie that would come out about how New York City ate itself because all of the critical infrastructure went out for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
which is not a long period of time in the grand scheme of things, but to be without everything, forget about it. We all remember the great TP shortage, right, of 2020 or whatever year it was. you know,
Right.
people were beating each other up over toilet paper.
You
Like
know, I
that just
I was
showed
more
you.
prepared. We actually had good stock, and that we never we my family at the time we were not impacted by the toilet paper shortage because I'm always a big believer of having essential supplies on hand.
Yeah,
All right,
the
and in
people are
our
not ready.
this is one you're
Sorry.
gonna like, Cowboy. This is a good one.
It's-
In our last story, former Accenture Federal Services employee charged with misleading the government on cloud security. The Justice Department has charged a former Accenture product manager, Danielle Hilmer, for falsely claiming that a cloud platform offered by Accenture Federal Services complied with federal security regulations. Hilmer allegedly concealed the platform's noncompliance, leading government clients to adopt a product that failed to meet mandated controls. The case underscores gaps in vendor transparency and the potential for misrepresentations to jeopardize federal data. This matters because it shows another example of supply chain risk and highlights how internal actors can mislead customers about security postures, regulatory compliance failure, and it demonstrates the legal ramifications of noncompliance and trust erosion. This is not just trust erosion with Accenture, although definitely with them at this point, right? Which damage control would say blame it on the employee, but this is, I think, across industry. This puts a doubt into your federal client's head as to what are you hiding from me? How do I know what you're telling me is actually compliant? Why am I going to buy this with just your word at this point? Now, I'm not saying that anyone else is doing anything bad or nefarious or not being transparent, but it puts the doubt there. And that's what I mean by trust erosion. Cowboy?
Yeah, so for those that don't know, the federal government uses something called FedRAMP. And there's FedRAMP low, moderate, and high, which are impact levels, right? For cloud services specifically, based on data sensitivity, which determines your security control, right? So low has about 150 controls, medium, about 325, high is at least 421 stringent
Yeah.
controls around protecting that data. And it is no joke. And in the contracting world, yeah, the first thing if someone's like, hey, let's, go to a client together and we've got this great thing, and you're like, is it FedRAMPed? Does it meet security posture? Because that's the first thing the government's going to ask.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see that doubt, right? One bad apple spoils the bunch. If they were lying to me, who else was? And even worse is it's a cream of the crop. Accenture is known, right? And they
Yeah.
have good reputation. So if they had somebody doing it, who else is? And it just creates unnecessary black eyes for everyone. It's going to create unnecessary hassle in the future. It's just going to slow things down even more, which is unfortunate. But when you're at least they were caught, right? And there's accountability there, and it says, hey, we didn't know, we took care of it, I guess. Like, sorry, but
the big thing here is trust erosion, right? It's not that they misled. Yes, that's horrible, right? It's terrible for the client, terrible for whoever purchased this, and that has to be remediated. But these are your providers, and you would hope that the people that are saying we have a solution that can fix your problem, which I know is a loaded statement, I get it. But you would hope that the product you're purchasing meets the minimum standard for which you have set it out to say it has to meet. And if you can't trust your vendors to do that, then, and especially big vendors like this, your smaller ones, your medium, small guy, okay, maybe the trust would be lower there. Maybe that's not knocking on small and medium business, right? But you would almost expect that a large business, an enterprise, has its S together and would not allow this to happen. And that's what that one hurts me the most. Like, man, now what? Who else is doing stuff that they shouldn't be?
Right. And people forget what a cloud provider is, right? People are like, it's in the cloud, it's fine. It's like that. It's just a data center somewhere else, right? You're not having your own data center. You're just paying somebody else to host your data, and you're paying them to secure it, and you're putting trust that they will secure it, right? And you read what are we going to do for you? And you read all the controls they put into place. Like, that's what you're doing. Like a bank.
A data center is just somebody else's computer. That's all it is.
Yeah. I'm trusting you to hold my money, right? I'm trusting you to hold my data. That's all the cloud is. People, for some reason, have a hard time grasping that. And that is, man, the trust erosion that, can't have people doing that, man. It hurts all of us.
Yeah. Like insider threat. It's almost like if it was an insider threat activity, I almost think that's not as bad. And that's not to say insider threat is not bad. Like I'm not making that assertion at all. But I mean, it's almost like expected or accepted, right? Oh, you had an insider threat problem. Okay, S happens, right? Where this is like it's insider threat, but not insider threat. This is just manipulative.
Like insider community threat, right?
Yeah.
You're not just a threat to your own company. You're a threat to all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Well, what else you got for us, Cowboy?
Hey, we found her, we stopped it. So okay. Here we go. My outgoing punchline of the day. It writes poetry. It codes apps. Now it crafts 0 days. We've officially entered the hold my beer phase of AI.
Oh my God, the hold my beer phase. I like it.
Hold my beer. I'm Cyber Cowboy. Stay frosty, my friends.
And I'm the professor of cyber risk. That's all the news for this week, and we'll talk again soon. If you like this podcast, share it with your colleagues and friends. Your support is how we are able to continue to make this content. Thank you.